Sean, the Minnesota Vikings have been extremely active, almost as if having all that extra money to spend allowed them to build themselves a nice little roster. Somebody was wrong on the opposite end of this table. They were very aggressive. The Vikings went after the best available guard that wasn't franchise tagged in Trey Smith in Will Fries. Shout out Will Fries. And Ryan Kelly, the center from the Indianapolis Colts. Two guys that are plug and play, high floor starters. I'm bullish on what the Vikings are going to be. I know that you feel all weird about J.J. McCarthy, and forget that for a minute, what J.J. McCarthy can be. The way that they've been able to build this roster this offseason and the way that they can put on those final pieces, those final little touches to round things out in the draft.
Yeah.
I think that this team is going to go on for the next 3 years to be one of the best in the NFL. I really do. Like, just bear with me here. If J.J. McCarthy, just with that frame in mind.
Yeah.
Don't come back at me that J.J. McCarthy won't pan out.
I won't.
If J.J. McCarthy ends up being a slightly above average quarterback for the next 4 years, say he is at least the 14th best quarterback in the NFL for the next 4 years, the way that this roster is built is good enough to win the division multiple times and to be a NFC championship contending team.
You know what? They have the bones. They've done a masterful job this offseason in getting quality players at positions where other teams lack a lot of depth, and that becomes their Achilles heel throughout the season. Offensive line depth, when that backup guard gets in there, you're in a bad spot because he doesn't have the feet or he doesn't have the awareness to take on a stunt from a psychopath defensive end. Like, that's where teams start getting their Achilles, where they start getting crushed. Minnesota is ailing that. They are adding major pieces, quality players, not the biggest names you've ever heard of, but just really good pieces. And you're right. They should be a team that can compete with Detroit in the NFC North. They should be able to split with Green Bay for however many years to come. They're just a quarterback away. And that's where I'm
going to lose my shit.
I agreed with you.
It's almost like they invested some draft capital in a quarterback. You're right. If only they had done that 2 years ago.
Quarterback away. I honestly, I'm just waiting to be sold on J.J. McCarthy. I'm not closing the door on him.
He hasn't played. What do you mean you're waiting to be sold on him? He hasn't played.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm in wait. I'm not jumping to conclusions. My knees aren't strong enough to jump that far to a conclusion that they're going to really beat Detroit, who has everything.
I'm going to put my head through that TV.
Please do. Let me know if you're gonna, because then I'll film it, and I think then maybe we pop.
Here's the biggest part with all this. Even if J.J. McCarthy doesn't hit the way that you're arguing, would you not agree that this is a perfect environment for him to make mistakes, for him to learn and to grow? This is not Sam Darnold when he was with the Jets. This is not... I'm trying to think of some other guys who completely shit the bed early.
Trevor Lawrence had one win in his rookie year.
But he ended up being good.
No, he's not.
Your evaluations of what... I don't understand
why you think every NFL quarterback is good.
I don't. I have talked about guys that are bad. I think that there's... Circumstances important to talk about with these guys. It is.
He's not good enough to be worth the contract that they paid him. Not saying he can't be good, but he's not a $50 million quarterback.
He is.
Ooh. What's
at
he
his
shown?
Best he is.
What's his best? I don't even know what his best is anymore.
He hasn't had any quality. He's thrown to freaking Christian Kirk, man.
He had Evan Ingram. He had Calvin Ridley. He had Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. Well, this year he had Brian Thomas Jr., and they were able to play a lot better.
Did they make the playoffs?
But the rest of their team was ass. Doug Peterson was a bad coach. You're going to regret
Super Bowl.
You're going to regret the Trevor Lawrence thing.
No. I've been on the Trevor Lawrence jag for a full year now. A year plus. The dude is not. He doesn't love football. Okay. He's not that guy.
J.J. McCarthy, though, even if he struggles over the next couple of seasons, this is the situation to struggle in. An offensive line that was mediocre last year that got a lot better. A team that is stout, extremely stout on defense. Mm-hmm. He can go out there and make mistakes and improve. The problem is why a lot of these guys end up being washed is because they have to do everything and they're not ready to do everything.
You're right. That's correct. And this is an environment conducive for success. But what concerns me is that you have mentioned JJ can go out there and struggle and have troubles. That is such an opposite direction from a 14-win team, Joseph. It is this is something that you do if you're the Steelers.
Wasn't as clean as everybody makes him out to be.
Yeah, he had some stinkers, but he also bossed the hell up. He made some big-time throws that we haven't seen Sam Darnold. We didn't see Sam Darnold make those throws. He evolved. He got better.
But let's think about this one. How and why did he make those big-time throws? Oh, he was throwing to Justin Jefferson. He was throwing to Jordan Addison. One of the best receiver duos in the NFL.
Sure.
Top 5 receiver duo in the NFL. Easily. I know Jay Jettis is carrying the weight of that, mostly being the why they're top 5.
One seesaw is constantly down.
Yeah. Right. But Addison was, when they were, opposing defenses were so focused on Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison would pop off for big games. Because I had Justin Jefferson in fantasy, so there were a lot of times where I'm like, shit, that was another Addison touchdown. I need another Justin Jefferson touchdown. But
right.
I digress. If you have J.J. McCarthy goes out there, has a little bit of trouble to start, you don't think that it's easy to build confidence and to start feeling better about yourself and your decision-making with an offensive coordinator that turned Sam Darnold into the next coming, which you called and said that Sam Darnold has only had one good season.
True.
So you've pointed out that before
yes,
he showed up in Minnesota, he was cheeks. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He got the most out of him that anybody's ever got out of him. You think that O'Connell can't, one, figure out how to tailor the offense to him to play to his strengths, run the ball effectively to take pressure off his shoulders. And then the third part, if he needs to get bailed out, Justin Jefferson is the guy who's going to bail him out.
Yeah, well, at least McCarthy threw the ball so much in college and was a better quarterback than Sam Darnold was in college. Oh, wait, no, he wasn't. He was worse.
He was not a better quarterback in college.
His arm's
Sam Darnold
not better.
was fine in college. There's not... It's equal. I would argue it's equal. Darnold's arm is good.
Here's the thing,
J.J. McCarthy's arm is also good.
You talk about this
McCarthy's
being
a better athlete than Sam Darnold was, and he couldn't escape pressure, and that was the biggest problem.
You're saying Minnesota is going to be so welcoming, and it's going to be great for him to have to struggle and grow.
I mean, they're the nicest fan base of people that are not going to get upset at him, to be fair.
But they're also a pained franchise that hasn't won dick in forever. So this Minnesota team could turn on McCarthy because look at us, 14 wins in the playoffs. We're sacrificing it for an 8-win season, maybe a 10-win season with the kid. Oh, where's my playoff bonus? I like that money. I like my vacation from last year. Oh, no, we had Sam Darnold, and then we shipped him off for a rookie second-year quarterback coming off of an injury, coming off of a senior year where he had no faith from his previous offensive coordinators in college, where you're supposed to dominate as a first-round pick in the NFL draft. It's not conducive.
First of all, had no one to throw to at Michigan. We all know that. No one was getting separation.
If you're a college quarterback, you should be able to throw them open. If you are a first-round guy.
They were so bad that the minute that Roman Wilson was gone, they literally couldn't throw the ball this year. Colston Loveland was the only guy who was catching passes. They had guys that didn't go over 100 yards on the entire season.
He got outdueled by Max Duggan.
That's a sophomore. It was as a sophomore. We're going all the way back to his sophomore year.
Outdueled by
Bo Nix
Duggan.
sucked as a sophomore. Justin Herbert was mediocre.
Bo Nix is the
Joe Burrow is ass as a sophomore.
Bo Nix is the all-time leading passing. He was the all-time leading passing yardage guy before Dylan Gabriel.
My point is,
he was throwing the rock. McCarthy wasn't. He was handing it off.
My point is that you can't use sophomore year as the barometer of capability. That's not fair to do to him, guys. He showed improvement into his junior year, and he showed what tools he has on the table. He is by far has not proven enough that he can be a great NFL quarterback. I 1,000% concede that. But the fallacy that I think is created is that assuming that Sam Darnold, who has had one good season, goes on to have a second good season. There's guys that have luck in their careers with their franchises where they have one really good year, and then the following year, it's a complete drop-off. Just because he had that one good season in Minnesota doesn't mean that it's something that could have been carried over.
You should have expected replication with that, though. You should have, opposed to taking a gigantic risk for McCarthy and loading him with a bunch of guys that are going to carry the team around him. That's great. Everyone's carrying the boats. But what's going to happen if he can't get the ball to Jettis? What happens there?
Well, Sam Darnold quite literally against the Lions and the Commanders in the playoff. In the Rams in the playoffs, couldn't get the ball to Jay Jettas because he was getting pressured and he couldn't escape pressure because he wasn't athletic enough. We need to stop talking about this because we have done this every episode. It's
infuriating. I get infuriated by the thought of Minnesota tanking a playoff team for absolute chips.